Hello and welcome
Yay.
to the Drunkduck Quackcast. Yay!
Hooray.
This is all of us in the Drunkduck Quackcast. I'm Ozone Ocean, Tance, and Baines Arene. Hello!
Hello.
Oh, well, we may as well introduce the theme music. That was our Drunkduck theme music, of course. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our subject for today, which is foot fetishes. No, it's not. It's understudy heroes on this Quackcast, Quackcast number 684. Oh my goodness me. So we're talking about understudy heroes, which is a topic that Tansarin came up with on Thursday as an understudy news poster to replace Baines, who we thought was the main protagonist, but it turned out it was a fake out. And Tance bravely took over and became the main hero for Thursday. So,
And she even clarified in the news post that Baines didn't die. And that was
I don't know. I felt like I should not jinx the entire premise because my
That's a good. Yeah.
Baines didn't die, I swear. And then he does. No, that must never happen. We'll protect him with our lives. So, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about after Quai and Gummels have done their thing. So, tell us about your thing, Quai.
Hello, this is Quackcast, and the feature I've selected for this week is GRM by Gustav I Am, and it is rated T14. Grimmy Gruesome's alarm wakes him up at 6:66 a.m. each day. His micro wardrobe has been filled with the same black hooded cloak since the dawn of time. Grimmy is very serious about taking lives for his job and excels at reaching weekly death toll quotas. Grimmy's days are numbered on a calendar, just like everybody else. Yet it is impossible for him to physically die. The only soul he plays is on the electric guitar. 1 to 3 paneled horizontal comic strip format. The art is in black and white with pops of color used to emphasize objects against the contrasting grayscale. Witness the battle between death and coffee and read GRM by Gustav I Am, rated T.
That was Quai telling us about the featured comic. It was GRM. Grum. Sounds like a sound a motorcycle makes when it's starting off. Grum. Okay, so next up we have the music Gummels has given us very kindly. He has done a theme to a comic called Animal Society. Don't cross at the red light. Traffic signals flash. Make way for the zebra at the zebra crossing. This is a flashy cityscape sound with a touch of the jungle. So take it away, Gummels, with your theme to Animal Society. Gumwall with his theme to Animal Society, inspired by this comic, which is a great little work by Cressida's Comics, and it's rated T for teen. Okay, so now on to our topic. Of course, we're talking about the understudy heroes. Understudy heroes, that's an interesting subject. Tance, you came up with this as an understudy hero for Thursday for Baines' news post, and it was fascinating, using the old Spider-Man as your example. But there are all sorts of understudy heroes. Now, what first came to my mind as an understudy hero was, of course, the character Fotis, who was forced into the limelight by the cruel destruction of his mentor, Basil, and was very shocking.
I'm still sorry.
Like this was the moment that shook the world. This was the shot heard around the globe when this happened.
That was a big moment, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Heavy.
Very heavy.
Suffice to say that my mom was very disgruntled about it for like a year at least.
Wow.
So
Only a year. She got over it fast.
I'm so sorry.
In case anyone doesn't know, we're talking about Tanz's comic Without Moonlight, and heroic character, somewhat of a main character, not strictly. I mean, it wasn't all about him anyway, but it definitely seemed like he was at least one of the heroes, or maybe the main hero. He
was set up as the main hero among the adults. Like he was a person that called the shots a lot. Even, I mean, you technically have the leader of the resistance cell, Orestes, but he's not the main character. And you can see that. Whereas Basil commanded stuff. And he also made things happen, advanced the plot a lot. And these are little tidbits that signal to the audience that this character is a main lead, therefore less likely to be on the chopping board, in a sense.
For sure.
And
he was my favorite character.
Oh, he was mine too.
Yeah. He definitely comes across that way. He's very strong, capable leader, like sort of integrity, a believable guy too, though. And so it's very shocking.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I'll have to confess that originally when I first plotted the plot, he was not supposed to die. So I cannot claim like, oh wow, I am the amazing the creator that creates this red herring character from scratch on purpose and then chops him off.
Pulling the strings. Yes.
I actually wanted him to be there to witness the bridge crashing down. I even had commissioned that scene with him and Fotis just looking at the burning bridge, which never happened. From another artist whose style I really liked, because it looked like an animated feature still frame. So there was that. But unfortunately, his antagonist, who was Arthur, happens to be also as capable as Basil and as intelligent and as strong and able to advance the plot and yada yada, all of that. Mm-hmm. And he just he acted in ways that made it impossible for me to save Basil from him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought, wait a second. wait a second, he wouldn't miss. Okay, how can I make him miss? I will drop a piano on his head. uh, like there was no way. I tried to set it up differently to make it so like he scrapes by with a wound or something like that. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be quote unquote realistic in the sense that you cannot believe that Arthur would miss.
Right.
Because when he sets his, like when he decides that someone has to die, that someone does die. It's as simple as that. That's how good he is at this. So, yeah. And I said, okay, fine, I get it. You have to go. Now
it does
what?
make sense. Yeah, I mean, it's now what exactly? So it feels like, oh no, like now what are we gonna do without him? We being the resistance, like without.
Yeah, and the understudy, I guess, is Fotis in some ways because he has to grow up a lot faster than he's already growing up. But I would posit that the understudy hero is Martha. She steps into his shoes.
Yeah, I can see
to
it.
do what he would be doing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it, because I always thought it was Fotis because he takes over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is also Fotis in certain aspects, but she takes up the mentoring that he still needs. So yeah, and she does it differently than Basil would, because I had all these scenes where Basil would do certain things like teach Fotis in certain ways. Martha doesn't do that. Martha is just like, I'll solve the problem when it arises. I don't care to preempt something because I don't have time for that. Whereas Basil always like tried to foresee things and preempt them. So they have different approaches and different stuff happens. So.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. That huge tragedy. Baines, have you ever done this? I don't think you have.
No. I don't think I've ever killed. I could be wrong. I don't think I've ever killed anyone in my comics.
In real life, sure, but comics? No.
In real life, yeah, quite a bit. But
It's different in fiction. In fiction, we care about the characters.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I haven't either. I don't think. I mean, them.
Wow, that's a little surprising. Like a main
That is
character.
surprising, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that I can recall. Maybe there are some instances, but I can't think. I'm probably just too conventional. Far too conventional.
I'm the only one with bloodied hands then. Like I am the only one who has killed her darling. So
My hands are dripping.
Yeah, the conviction.
Like this.
Black with...
I had a side character who appeared in one issue. He was a parody of Mickey from the movie Rocky. He was this 90-year-old mentor for Penelope when she sort of returns to her life as a, Fight Club combatant. And he collapses and is taken away in a moment in the story. The death of the mentor kind of thing. But even then, it's left unclear whether he died or not. So.
It comes back the next episode. Oh, well, I had a major case of blood.
He could be doing this fun. Yeah.
Exactly. A huge fake out.
I have to say, people didn't believe that Basil actually died to the point I had to show the body. Because I had comments saying yeah, that is a lot of blood, but people have bounced back from, from that with some transfusions and stuff like that. And he could be serious, but he could survive. And I said, no, please, let's not drag this out. Here is the body. He's dead.
Oh, no.
I had to draw that.
So sad, so sad. Well, I mentioned in the in our Patreon video where we come up with these topics and we sort of tell people how we decide on things, that there's an anime, and I looked it up. It's called The Legendary Hero is Dead, and it's literally about this subject where the hero, who's the legendary hero as they are in these things, meant to kill off the demon lord who's threatening the world. This is an old frickin' trope, but he gets killed by an absolute coward and a loser, and that loser has to inhabit his body, using a necromancer puts his soul into the legendary hero's body, and he has to spend the rest of the entire series pretending to be the legendary hero and faking his way to be to defeating the Dark Lord, basically. So in a very funny way, because he can't work the magic sword very well and all that. So he's meant to use his mana power by touching the magic sword, and it grows huge and it has a lot of power. But when he does it, the magic sword is up and then it kind of droops and sags like a big flaccid thing. Exactly. But he manipulates that to his benefit, because it becomes a floppy and he can whip it around like a whip. So he works around this stuff in funny and hilarious ways. So, and his ability focuses on running away and making traps and stuff like that. And he uses that to his advantage. He can avoid stuff and run away and make traps and do all that kind of stuff, and it shows that there are other ways of being a hero. You don't have to always take the direct approach. You can be clever, and you can be an incredible planner and a strategist. Strategist, and do all that kind of thing, and that can help you win. So it not only is it comedic, it also shows there are other ways to succeed and to do all that. So
that sounds amazing. And also it's a problem that the original hero created, because he shouldn't have just stolen the pie in the first place.
Exactly. Being a dumbass and falling in a pit trap. Stupid idiot. So yeah, that is my fantastic example. I don't have many more, because this is not a trope that I really know very much about.
Mm-hmm.
But Baines, you brought up an excellent one. Oh, okay. Now, Baines, you brought up that excellent one about the superheroes in that film, right?
Mystery Men.
Mystery Men, which is a great one. And I'll let you finish, but I wanted to this just reminded me of The Other Guys, if you've seen that.
I think I've seen some of that, yeah.
Will Ferrell and Marky Mark, or
right.
Mark, whatever his name is, I can't remember his movie name. So in that, there's the fantastic detectives, the super detectives who can do anything, and they're stuck on the top of a building, and there's going to be a bomb going off or something, and because they're heroes, of course, what do? They jump off the building because they can't die, because they got plot armor. And they fall to their deaths. So the other guys have to take over, which is Will Ferrell, whose character is a bit of a nerd, a dork, who's picked on by everyone, and this Marky Mark guy, who's a bit rough around the edges, but really not, main character potential. And they have to become the main characters, and it's good. It's really good because of that, because they're trying to be the main characters, but they're not, and they don't have that energy. And there's a comedic thing. So I really, really loved that film.
Very nice. I don't remember much about it, but that scene with the heroic cops.
Yeah, I remember that scene myself.
Yeah.
You probably watched that.
That was very, very funny.
They look at each other, they say, yeah, we're going to do it. we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and it's like who's the actor from Pulp Fiction with the I keep thinking Lawrence Fishburne, but it's not. It's whoever it is. He's a guy who often plays these badass tough guys, and yeah, you think he's gonna survive, but no, he doesn't. So that is a very
Samuel L.
effective
Jackson.
film.
And is the
There
one
you
with
are.
The Rock.
Exactly, Samuel L. Jackson.
In my memory, it was Jason Statham and The Rock. But I guess it was Samuel L. Jackson.
I don't know. You
They're all
could be
bald.
right.
It was
Who
like a
knows?
bunch of bald guys, I guess. There were two of them, I know that. But
It feels like it does feel like The Rock was there.
I thought it was him and Jason Statham. But yeah, maybe you're right. It was Samuel L. Jackson. Sounds right. Though.
They're interchangeable. It could have been any of those. And it'll work.
Super cool action guys. Anyway.
But that is a cool way to make a quote unquote standard plot interesting, in the sense that you set it up like this is going to be the heroic endeavor that you expect. The main character is going to be like this tough bruiser type of guy, this tank that is going to sustain damage and stuff like that. And then the tank dies, and so now we have to do the tank's job while being like I don't know, Rangers in D&D or something like that. Glass cannon sort of situation, and that makes it unpredictable, in the sense you signal to the audience that no, you cannot really be assured that it's gonna go how you think it's gonna go.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it undermines their assumptions of, this is the typical way that this story goes, with all the cliches and the tropes. And no, we've undermined that totally, and now it's not going to be so predictable. It's going to feel new and interesting to you. It's going to you can't shut off your brain like you might, and you have to focus. So it makes it a more engaging, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. Very good point.
Like I would say, and of course that's not really a dig at the movie, because the movie was about something else, but the first Captain America movie, where it has first, I don't remember his name when he's not Captain America. Anyway,
Steve
when
Rogers.
he's being when he's being, a soldier trying to get conscripted to volunteer for World War II, and he's like this ranty guy that constantly gets cut from selection or whatever it is. I would be a lot more interested in seeing how he fares if he somehow manages to get selected, rather than, how he becomes this big dude with muscles for days that, can do stuff. So I would be more watching that. So
he did get selected as a runty guy before he became big. So
but in order to become big.
Oh no!
That's why
he got selected as a runty guy, and he was like in training, and as a normal, and he was with all the rest of them, and they were kind of thinking, "Oh, Jesus, you're just a runt," and they were all thinking that they were going to get selected to be the Captain America with the treatment, but in the end, because he shows this, heroism when someone throws a grenade and he jumps on it in order to protect everybody.
Oh yeah, he did that. Yeah.
Okay. That's why they
super important, man. I'm so glad they did that in that movie. It really makes the character work. Was that ever the right move to show he is that guy, even without the physique and the physical?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Like the movie works I liked it. I am just saying that I like the unpredictable stuff a little bit more. Like, for example,
But
um,
before you go on, like I will say that in that film we do have that like substitute hero because we think his friend Bucky Barnes, he's the one that fits into that role. In the beginning, he protects his little runty Steve Rogers. He protects him as his friend, and he's the one who we think is going to be the hero. But it switches to Steve as the protagonist, and we
yeah,
don't
that's
expect that.
true.
So sorry, go on. I
I
didn't
was,
want to.
no, I was gonna go off on a tangent, so yeah, I think I shouldn't go on. So, um, but yeah, that is really good.
I'm the one who's actually seen a film more. You know, you guys have normally seen these films many times. You can remember it. I've seen that first Captain America film like 3 or 4 times, so I can remember all
Nice.
this stuff.
I've actually only seen it once, but I would love to see it again, actually.
I freaking love it. It's my favorite out of all the Marvel ones, just because it is so it's set in the right time, whereas none of the rest are, and it's very formative. It really sets up everything very well. You know,
Mhm.
like the way Indiana Jones is very, like this sets up the story from a very long time away in the time it's meant to be set, and everything else just like flows on after it. It feels like very Indiana Jones to me.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, I can see that.
Not
Absolutely.
only because it's like in the 1930s, but I mean 1940s, or
Mhm.
whenever it is, I can't remember. It's probably 1940.
What, the Indiana Jones?
No, Indiana Jones like 1933 or
Yeah.
something. But
Mhm.
Captain America is like 1940, 1941 or something, I think.
Yeah, around there. Hmm.
But yeah, that's a great example. In bits and pieces. I mean, say there's the MacGruber film, which I freaking love, another one I love. And this is like a spoof of MacGyver turned into a whole film about this character who was from a sketch in Saturday Night Live, and his whole thing was he's going to defuse a bomb, but he gets carried away with something else and the bomb explodes and everyone dies. But then he comes back again. He just keeps on trying to defuse bombs and messing up. So there's a whole movie based on MacGruber, and it's quite fun. But in the beginning of that, you have like, MacGruber, we want you to to take on this terrorist, and it's your job. You have to do it. And he goes, okay, boss, I'm going to assemble this fantastic team of all these guys. And he goes around, there's like, the kind of like montage of him going around and selecting these enormous muscly guys who are like, oh, this is a weapons expert, this is the bomb expert,
Hmm.
this is the knife expert, and he sticks them all in this van, they're all together, and he go, yeah, we're gonna like mess up this terrorist, yeah. And this general comes around to him and says, look, MacGruber, look, I know you've assembled this massive dream team of all the best like operatives ever, and they're gonna take on the world and defeat it easily, but I want you to include this extra guy here. Like, he's a Green Beret, he's this is the guy I recommend. And MacGruber says, no way, no, I've got all these fantastic guys, they're gonna help me, they're my best team, and you couldn't even fit in the boot because I've packed it full of handmade C4 explosive. And the next minute,
Oh no!
the
Oh,
blows
no.
up. And all the guys, their body parts fly everywhere.
Oh no! Oh my goodness!
so yeah, I mean, he's still the main character, but the guys who are going to be like his dream team are all dead. So this other guy becomes his, the understudy for those guys, and he becomes the new assistant trying to
Yeah.
defeat the terrorists.
Okay, that reminds me, and of course it's not exactly this trope, but since you mentioned that, I have to, like this one movie, I think John Goodman was the main character. And it is about it starts off with the British royal family,
Oh, the other one.
and talking
King
about
Ralph.
stuff. Yeah, that's the one. And they all go to have this massive group family royal photo, and they all get electrocuted or something like that. Like they all die. Like absolutely everyone in the royal family dies. So there's no way, and they have to find like search all the genealogical trees to find someone that has survived, and this dude in America that is like your very average working class fat American guy is the royal successor and the
Yeah.
king. So yeah, that was I laughed a lot at this movie and I loved it. I loved it throughout. So if you haven't seen it, see
All
it.
right. Yeah. Never seen it.
It is very good. A very good John Goodman film. He hadn't really done any like starring roles. He'd
John
done.
Goodman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He'd sort of done roles where he was like you know, featured, but he hadn't been a star. I think that was his first big starring role. I think even before Roseanne, or maybe at the same time as Roseanne, I'm not sure. But was excellent, was so funny. He'd had featured roles in like Raising Arizona and True Stories and stuff like that. But yeah, this was him being the actual star. Let's see, after that there was like Flintstones and things and various other films. But yeah, he was fantastic in King Ralph.
You just reminded me of, I was reading an interview with John Goodman, and he talks about, well, he did King Ralph, I guess, and I think probably after that he was in the movie Always, the Steven Spielberg movie, and he played Richard Dreyfuss's best friend, sort of the best friend of the main character. And Spielberg, I guess, saw John Goodman and said, "Hey, we found our Fred Flintstone." I guess Spielberg was, executive producing the Flintstones, and John Goodman was like, I don't want to be Fred Flintstone. But how do you say no to Steven Spielberg kind of thing? So he's like pressured into it.
Oh, jeez. That's
kind of feel bad for that. But,
that is a story. Shit.
Yeah.
You can't say no to Spielberg. But he was excellent in it. Who was it? Was it Rick Moranis who was Barney?
Rick Moranis? Awesome. Yeah. Awesome cast, for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember who. Betty and
Veronica.
Veronica.
No, Betty and Wilma.
Wilma, oh my, oh, Veronica is in Archie, oh my God. Oh. So sorry, guys.
But great film. I must watch that again. Of course, a historical film depicting when humans and dinosaurs live together.
Yes, it's very historically.
Yeah, using dinosaurs as appliances, of course. And,
of course, after Spielberg had done Jurassic Park, he had to be involved in another accurate film where humans and dinosaurs.
This makes sense.
It does. It really does.
But going a little bit into the mechanics of this trope, like the decoy main character and the understudy hero, all of that, like this whole system. I think it's worth talking a little bit of how that can be set up if you are not like me and it just happens to you. Like if you are actually interested in doing something like that. And what I would suggest is that you create a constellation of potential main characters. Like you have characters that may be secondary, but they have this main character energy, and you have more than one. And that surround your decoy in a way that is complementary and not rather like a And when I say complementary, they could be conflicting. Like you could have one character at the throat of the other. But what I mean is that within the story, they feel like they could work as a team that develops throughout the plot.
Mhm.
And then once you have set up, you have to set up their dynamic in a way that is convincing that this will carry us through the story. We have the main character, we have the lancer guy that is going to help him. We have the other one that antagonizes him, and we have the I don't know, 2-3 other different supporting roles of people that are fleshed out enough to be convincingly the support of the decoy, but also able to become main characters. So once the dynamic is established, you put them through like a small little adventure, then you can chop off the decoy, and then you have your actual plot. I guess that is one method of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
it is. I mean, if you want to take time to set it up too, like you did, you can really kind of do it that way. The impact is a lot bigger.
Yeah, you got your audience that way. Yeah.
I mean, there's the quick way to do it, like they did in that anime where you have, okay, this guy is the legendary hero. Basically, the name is in the title, and
Yes.
there's stuff attached to that through the tropes and the cliches. So you don't need to set up any. You don't even need to do a big prologue or anything, because that's the form and that's the structure, the typical structure. It always fits. So to change that is very effective because it's so easy. So that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. If you
can't
go
always
like
do
the
that,
like,
though.
it depends on the story, but that also works really well if you start off super stereotypically. The main character, the hero, has the sun armor that glows, and the cape, and the big sword, and everyone swoons when he appears or she appears, and you know, and so everyone says, okay, this is our hero with the literal armor and plot armor, and now we have our story, and then chop.
Yeah.
And now everything stops being stereotypical because the linchpin is gone to the stereotype.
Exactly. You have to find your way and work out how everything works and fits. Did they do that in?
And this is, I mean, you're talking about this. Go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
No, you. It must be you.
No, please. Because I was going to call back something. So.
Yeah, go ahead and call back, and then we can go forward. I remember.
No, I abdicate.
Well, I was just going to say, like, it depends when you do it in the story. Like, if that kind of thing is just a prologue, and this is a character you don't even know, and they die, and then we meet our protagonist, it's not really what you're talking about, right? Like, you have a more established, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a little more time with this decoy protagonist, so it's really legitimately seems like they are for more than a couple of minutes or a couple of pages.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why they are a decoy, because you have to lull your audience into believing, relying on this character that they are going to be the main lead.
Yeah.
And then knock that out and throw your audience on the floor because they were leaning on this character. The idea, the main, like the played up straight, let's say, the way to build this up is that you have to build up the decoy, then take them out. And you also need to have, at the same time, established the understudy in the sense that they have to be half-baked. they have to be not yet ready
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not we feel for the dead guy, but we're not worried because the other guy can do it just as well.
Yeah, you
it's
have to
not
feel that the other guy possibly couldn't do it. Like, say, like you, Batman and Robin, and I'm not thinking about the comics or anything like that. I'm thinking about the old TV series, which is, I'm embarrassed to say, what I am most familiar with when it comes to Batman and Robin. I'm familiar with the old Wowie, Bam, Zam, that TV series from the 1960s. So, say you've got that team. What happened if Batman suddenly couldn't do it, and then Robin took over? Like, in terms of that, you'd never think that Robin...
I mean, that must have happened at some point in the comics, I'm guessing. For sure it's happened somewhere. And then Batman would eventually come back, of course.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you've got these Red
I
Hoods and all
suppose
these
so.
other
I mean,
characters.
Nightwing as well
Yeah,
at some
there you
point.
go.
Yeah, that's, as far as I know, pretty well established for many, many years now that the original Robin, Dick Grayson, has moved on and become Nightwing. And the Robins are kind of different people. And there are maybe 3 or 4 well-known successors to the Robin title.
And yeah, they did have to take over
Yeah.
in various ways. So
Eventually, even comic book time has to move forward to some degree.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned the TV series, because you couldn't really imagine that Robin taking over.
True.
No.
The little shorts. Like,
Holy, not ready for prime time, Batman.
Oh no! Oh my goodness, yeah, that was... I remember as a kid watching it. I used to watch it pretty much religiously. I liked it, but I also got so frustrated. Like, I wanted it to become a little bit more dramatic, and it never did. And I hated that part. Like,
yeah.
like you're this close, like let him actually be feeling pain for
It
God's
was
sake.
camper than a row of tents. It really was.
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
used
it
to
was
get...
funny, and they knew it was a comedy. It was a very sort of sly comedy, and they knew it.
Yeah.
But I'm the same. Like, my taste is a little more grit, a little more drama, so I could never become a full-out fanatic for that show.
I used to get frustrated by the fact that all the bad guys, they had these henchmen who were the same henchmen. It didn't matter who the bad guy was, they just changed their shirts. It was the same guys.
Job security was nice. Yeah, they
Yeah,
always
job
found
sec-
work. It was good.
Yeah, of King
Yeah.
Tut or the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, Mr. Freeze.
I have to say that's why when I stumbled across MacGyver, I was like, wow, amazed, because he got punched and it felt like painful, and he also got hurt at sometimes. Like, they shot at him and you knew that chances are that he wouldn't be shot, but you didn't completely know. Sometimes he did get shot. So that...
Yeah. There was a potential for him to be injured, which is a good thing to avoid our Mary Sue issue, which is another Quackcast entirely, which we've done many Quackcasts on. If your hero is invulnerable or there's not much risk to them, then you lose your... you don't care for them as much because they're not likely to suffer any great issues in whatever they do. So their problems become less engaging.
Yeah.
Like if all
Were you
that
going to
happens
mention...
is...
Yeah.
Go on.
Speaking of...
Go ahead.
No, you, Baines, you were the one.
Oh, I was just going to ask you if you wanted to call back what I interrupted you with before. Were you going to mention Mystery Men again, or have you already made the point?
I was going to mention Mystery Men, but I was just going to ask you if they had been, if the hero there, you know, the Superman style hero, I think I remember him having like branding on his stuff, like sponsorships.
Yes, I remember that too. Yes, I think so.
So was he really set up to be the main thing, or was it sort of he was just like structurally the main thing because he is the superpowered character, and the Mystery Men are just like they don't have, you know, hero worthy powers. They just have like less than even side character powers. But was he really?
It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I have to see it again to remember how exactly all of that works. I remember he had like a Pepsi logo on him or something like that. Yeah. So there were signs that maybe this guy is not all that, heroic, not what he seems to be, but he's a well-regarded hero. He was funny, and I think he was a bit of a dick even when you first meet him. And I also think, I could be wrong, but I think you meet the underdog, like the guys who become the Mystery Men. I think you meet them first. So it is like you're meeting your actual protagonists first. And then they're talking about Captain Amazing is the heroic guy's name. And then you meet him, and yeah, he is kind of a dick, but he's also charming, I thought. He's funny, but definitely arrogant. And he gets kidnapped. And now these underdog heroes who are kind of, they don't have much in the way of powers, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. It falls to them, or they decide to rescue Captain Amazing. Yeah.
Right.
The other guys make
now that you, like, I remember, like, No, go ahead.
We have a delay, I think. Yeah. I was just going to babble on. So go ahead.
You want me to go ahead? Because I might completely... okay. So I was just going to say that I just remembered that this exact trope of the decoy hero sort of thing, MacGyver did that in one episode. I think it was called Passages or Crossing Over or something like that. I think Passages in season 6 or season 7. And he gets thrown out of the third or fourth floor from a tower parking lot, and he gets thrown down to the basement almost. And he spends the entire episode out of commission. He's literally fighting for his life. In critical condition, he flatlines a couple of times and stuff like that. And the thing is that the rest of his friends are the ones that need to step up and protect him, because the assassin still tries to get him killed because he saw something he shouldn't have seen. But
that's cool.
Nobody has an idea of what happened and what he saw, so they don't really know. And we have this duality of fearing for his life because he is actually dying, but also fearing that he's going to get assassinated while he's dying. And that's a pretty good, cool episode.
That sounds great. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course the medical stuff is funny because they have this very serious looking doctor taking his blood pressure while he's flatlining, which is so hilarious. Because back then they didn't really care for complete accuracy over the medical stuff. And young me didn't know any better, so that was like, oh my God, they're doing med stuff on him, he's dying. But later on, I remember laughing a lot and not being able to feel the drama because the medical procedures were so distracting. But beyond that, it is a really cool episode, really well written. And I highly recommend it if you can turn off the this is not how it should be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Got the, thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
Have you
example.
watched it again in recent years? I probably asked you before.
Yeah, I did. I remember like when the modern MacGyver series came out. I don't remember a few years ago. Uh, I was disappointed, so I went to watch some of my favorite episodes um, from the original, and and I remember that this one was like I laughed when I didn't want to laugh a few years ago. That's why I remember the title of the episode. I think it's Passages
Ah,
because
Yeah.
he was in the passage from
okay. Life to death.
the trapped on this ship. Yeah, and he's trapped on this, like in his mind, he's trapped on this ship that is going to take him to the land of the dead. Then he tries to escape back on shore where the living are. So we have an escape thing going in his mind while the others are trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So yeah.
That jogged my
Maybe
mind
from-
into, like, Richard Dean Anderson, who's the actor in MacGyver, jogged my mind to Stargate. And Stargate, the TV series, doesn't really do this, but the movie does it in that Kurt Russell.
Mm.
Kurt Russell. Okay,
Kurt.
yeah. Kurt is like known for being an action hero, guys, in Big Trouble in Little China and Escape from New York, Escape from LA, all these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in this, this epic action hero kind of film, and you automatically think he's going to be the main action hero, the main character. But it turns out that it's the intellectual James Spader's character who becomes the main hero. And it's not like a sudden thing. It's like a gradual takeover. And it just turns out that Kurt Russell's character is just too fragile to be that hero. And that's an interesting aspect of that whole, understudy thing. Because you don't expect the archaeologist, the Egyptologist, to become, the main guy at all.
Right.
So that's my big takeaway. We have 3 minutes to go.
Oh, well, I was going to say, this is a lot more common in series. You talk about MacGyver, and it makes me think that, you see this quite a bit in TV series, ongoing series, especially when they're forced into it, like the actor leaves, like they lose the main character or whatever. It's happened. Like comedy shows like way back in the day, it was Happy Days. The main character left, and they tried to kind of replace him with another guy. And that 70s show, the same thing happened. The X-Files replaced the two leads one at a time, I guess. At first, David Duchovny left, and they brought in another guy. They're very different personality from Mulder. But then Scully left as well, and they brought in someone else. And it's two different people pursuing the X-Files mysteries.
Wow. I wasn't even aware of that.
Interesting. It's hard to make it work, but
Yeah, that's a good point, because obviously a long-running series mean there's a big commitment by these working actors who have to be stuck doing this show year after year. Means they can't, take up offers for big movies where they could possibly making themselves more famous and getting more money, or just getting the payday from the movie. So they're stuck in these TV series. So that means it's it becomes they obviously want to get out of it, and the TV series, the showrunners, they need someone to replace these guys. So you do have this situation, like you're saying, where they desperately need to replace these main people somehow. So it becomes something they have to do. They don't have a choice. And oftentimes it's not very successful, but sometimes it really is. Sometimes it works out. Like really, really well. Like there's a lot of tales you can... Oh, we're under a minute. Okay. The last one I'll mention is Bewitched. Dick was replaced with Dick. There you go. They replaced her husband, Dick, with another guy called Dick, and no one even noticed. And
Was he playing the same guy, but not
the same guy,
the same actor?
exactly.
They
So
never
it
acknowledged.
really wasn't an understudy. It was
Really
just, yeah, they
funny.
never acknowledged it was just a different dick. All dicks look the same.
Oh,
Oh,
Darren. I think it was a different thing. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Do-
All right.
do- do- do-
Bye-bye.
do-
Quackcast number
Bye-bye.
38.